Okay, I'm feeling super productive, cleaned everything in here. I'm gonna be propagating and repotting a bunch of stuff. It's amazing, I'm gonna do it during the daylight. Let's see how much I get done. Productive day is gone, but that's okay. I'm still gonna do everything I need to do. But I'm starving because all I had for dinner were
the children's leftovers.
Food first. Okay, but before I go, I'm gonna wash up because it's already late and I need to get it out of the way. I like to joke how my plants get better skincare than I do, so I'm doing my best to try to take better care of myself. And this is the UFO 3 by Florio Sweden, who I like to thank for partnering with me on this video. This is a deep facial hydration device and it's like 5 facials in one. It's known to increase moisture levels by 126%. It comes with these special masks that you just attach onto the device, and it comes with all of these pre-programmed treatments that you can access through the connected app. So things like warming thermotherapy, cooling cryotherapy, LED light therapy, and T-sonic massage. My favorite is a thermotherapy because I just love the feeling of heat on my skin, and I feel that it helps the mask to really absorb. I find it very moisturizing. The UFO 3 is rarely on discount, and right now Florio is having the biggest sale of the year with up to 50% off plus an additional 10% off with my discount code. So this is the best time to buy and take advantage of Florio's big Black Friday deals. It's a once a year opportunity, so check out the link in my description for more details. Grilled cheese, extra toast, whole grilled onion with a lemon up. Extra toast is the most important factor when ordering a burger from In-N-Out because they toast the bun and it's so incredibly crispy. Also, I do eat meat. I'm not a vegetarian, but it's 9:30 p.m. and I'm trying to be healthier, so I ordered a grilled cheese. Oh, so good. Anyway, I'm gonna finish chewing. A request that I've gotten repeatedly over and over is what substrates do I use and how do I know when to use them? So I brought all this crap over here. Actually, I want to finish eating, forget it. All right, this is my attempt at organizing things. So this is soil, leca, moss, and stratum over there at the very end. Ta-da! So when do I use what? So soil, I make my own mix, which is pretty chunky, and it's made out of a mixture of potting soil, leca, bark, perlite, may have sprinkled some horticultural charcoal. I think that's it. If you don't like making your own mix, then I also use pre-made mixes that are super convenient. Everything's already mixed for you. The mix that I like is just super chunky and delicious looking. Oh, bad idea. Let me turn on my air filter. Okay, so most of my plants are in soil. I'm gonna sneeze. Pink elephants, pink elephants, pink elephants. I think it went away. I also have a few plants that are in leca. Stands for lightweight expanded clay aggregate. Leca is a substrate that you can also use to grow plants in semi-hydroponically. So you would put the plants in leca and you would fill up the bottom portion with water, and through capillary action, the leca will soak up that water and then feed the roots. I'm actually moving my plants away from leca. Most of the plants that I have in leca are alocasias, and if you know, you know that I went through a horrible situation of root rot with one of my most valuable, beloved plants. But some people swear by leca and how well their plants are able to thrive in it. For me, under my care, it's just not my friend. And then over here, you have sphagnum moss and stratum. I personally dislike handling moss because I think it's gross, it's heebie-jeebie, but roots grow really, really well in it, so I keep it around, and it's great for moss poles. And then stratum, this is actually an aquarium substrate. This is what I exclusively use to propagate my alocasia corms because it roots so quickly in here. The other substrate I use for propagating that I didn't bring up here because it's a huge bag and it's really filthy and in my garage is perlite. It holds the cuttings really well. Like if I had these pothos cuttings just in a cup of water, then they would just be flopping around. Whereas in perlite, it actually just holds everything in really well. So in sum, soil and leca, permanent substrates for growing plants. Moss, perlite, and stratum, really good for propagating. So let's start with something easy to propagate. The easiest plant to propagate by far, the pothos. So long. And here's another one, also touching the ground. And in case you wonder if the plant will continue growing after you cut it, it does, but not where you might think. So the plant's not gonna grow back where you cut it. It's going to activate a new growth point. So for example, you can see here, this is where I cut the plant and it activated a new growth point and it grew this new vine. So it didn't grow from where I cut it, it just created a new vine. Here's another example. This is where I cut it, activated a new growth point, and it grew this stem. Here's an example from a different type of plant. This is a Tradescantia Nanouk. This is where I cut it, and then this grew from the new growth point. So step one, get clean shears. Actually, no. Step one, make sure your plant is well watered. You don't want to propagate a plant that is thirsty because you are reducing the chances of that cutting surviving. This too. My friend gave me a cutting of this Philodendron Brazil, and this is literally one vine. So I'm going to propagate it so I can fill this out. I should probably take the tag off my pots. Anyway, I'm going to propagate it so I can fill at the top of this so there's more than just one vine. This Scindapsus loves giving me leafless vines at the bottom. Like, look at this. Not a single leaf. So many vines are like this. This one actually has good leaves, but it's so bare at the top, I'm just gonna trim this too. I basically gave it a full-on bob. This exotica is also looking pretty bare. Oh my gosh, this is so much to propagate. Now, I am not going to keep all of these pothos, or I'm not gonna propagate all of these because I don't need any more pothos. Because that's a pothos, that's a pothos, that's a pothos. This is another one. Here's another one. There's another one. I think I have one upstairs in my bathroom. I don't need any more. I do wanna keep the Brazil and the Scindapsus so I can fill out the pots. Okay, so when propagating cuttings like pothos or philodendron, the part you wanna keep is the node because this is where the new roots will grow from. And you can see here that little aerial roots actually already popped off right here. And you can do single node cuttings. Let me give you an example. Like this pothos, so you cut in between each set of nodes like this, so that there's one leaf. And each one of these will be its own plant and its own vine later on. I like to have at least 2 leaves per cutting minimum. This one I'll do 3. Okay, we'll leave it at that. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plants. And because I'm submerging this bottom node, for example, in water, I'm gonna remove this bottom leaf just so that this node is gonna be in the water or the perlite and you won't have that leaf in there. Same thing with this, just rip off that bottom leaf. Got these cute propagation setups. Oh my gosh, that is so cute. To see how the node is submerged, that's what you want. You want that part in water so that the roots will grow from there. Okay, see how this bottom leaf is getting in the way? Easy peasy. So I can propagate these in water, but again, notice how these will just flop around or fall in. So I'm gonna use perlite. Woe is me. So it looks pretty on the surface, but notice how there are just so many crispy edges. And I just spilled water everywhere. Ugh, I forgot this is in leca. And that's my sign to go to bed. I felt like death in the morning, but I'm good now. I had my coffee. I don't know why I do this to myself. Always doing all my chores at night. So I'm gonna finish working on other propagations that I need to do and repot some of those plants that are in desperate need of larger homes. Also, I've had a lot of trolls. Almost fell. I've had a lot of trolls recently comment about how it looks like I live in an asylum because I don't have things up on the walls. So let me address that. First off, this is a rental. We moved here very, very unexpectedly. It was kind of a nightmare patching up all the holes and everything from the last house where we've had everything up on the walls. Kind of don't want to go through that again. Secondly, I do have things up on the walls, but I actually take them down because I don't show photos of my family in any of my videos. And thirdly, why are y'all staring at the walls? Anyway, I like my blank walls. I'm a minimalist when it comes to home decor and a maximalist in plants. Here we are again, 9:02 p.m. I'm gonna pick back up where I left off, I promise. Gonna do this one today. Oh! Okay, I realized I lied last night. I said the Pothos was the easiest plant to propagate. I think I said that. In truth, Tradescantia Nanouk. I have no idea how to pronounce plant names. This is actually the easiest plant to propagate because you don't need to put it in water, perlite, or anything. You can just pop it into soil and it roots so quickly. And yes, it's pretty, but when you see how crispy it looks, this happens due to inconsistent watering, and this is in leca, and I always forgot to refill the reservoir. So I'm just gonna chop all this up. This is also a great opportunity for me to do the Q&A that I posted on my channel. You guys posted like 85 questions. I can't get through all of them. First question, does your husband really dislike all the plants, or is he low-key supportive of it? Surprisingly, I got so many questions about my husband. I don't know why everybody's so curious about my 456-month-old. He is supportive. He's the one who actually encouraged me to document my plant journey online, and he doesn't hate plants. He enjoys plants. What he doesn't like is kind of all the stuff that comes along with it, which is the constant mess that's always around our house. He once in a while makes an appearance, a cameo if you will, and people always seem to like it. He literally never knows what's going on. Like, nothing's ever scripted or prepped ahead of time, so I just put him in these situations and record it and see what his reaction is like. Oh, it's so crispy. Next one. Have you ever had a sudden urge to get rid of all your plants, sell all of them, and be free? I do get overwhelmed at times with the amount of chores that I have to do. Like, I love buying plants, hate dealing with pests and all that stuff that comes along with it. When I do start feeling like that, it's probably a sign for me to downsize my collection. I try to downsize and really narrow it down to plants that really bring me joy. And anything that doesn't, I just rehome to someone who will enjoy it better than me. What's the most expensive plant you bought? So that's a recent purchase of mine. It is a Philopia multiflora variegated, and it cost me $350, which I know isn't the most expensive. Most of my really expensive variegated collection actually came from friends. But other than that, yeah, I haven't really spent so much on one individual plant. Probably collectively, I spent a lot of money. How do you manage being a mother, a content creator, maintaining your career, taking care of plants, working and editing on top of the maintenance of plants takes some time? I'm not sure how you do it. So as you can see, I hired all the time and I fall asleep constantly. YouTubing is not my job. It is definitely a hobby that I do for fun. I was a teacher, and then eventually I became a principal, and now I work from home as an educational consultant, and it's hard. So I told myself that I'll only do this as long as I still enjoy this hobby. The only way that I find this enjoyable is being silly and bringing humor into what I do. All right, pretty bald now, but these grow back so quickly. Chopped her all the way down. Again, all of these bumps are the nodes, and that's where the roots will come in. Don't want leaves on the bottom because that's gonna go into soil. These crispy leaves gotta go. And there you have it. The important thing about propagation and even just planting new cuttings into soil or whatever substrate in general is you want to keep that soil consistently moist for about 2 weeks, because those roots need water and are used to water or a lot of moisture. So you don't want to suddenly shock them by letting the soil dry out. Alright, so I filled this up and now I'm just going to thoroughly water it, soak it all up. It's so pretty. See, this is the problem. I downsize, but then I propagate and then I make more of the same plant that I don't need. Mission accomplished. This plant has been bothering me freaking forever. It is just not cute anymore. It looks too spidery for me, but it has really cute babies that I'm going to propagate. Oh, by the way, this is a Chinese money plant, also known as a Pilea. First, all these hideous lower leaves that are drooping have got to go. I beheaded it. Okay, remember my tip about making sure the plant is watered before you propagate? I didn't follow my own advice because this is so dry. You can hear it crunching. All you do is just kind of pull the baby out. And this has a little bit of roots. Barely has roots. So last time I did this, there were actually a good amount of roots on all of the pups. These don't. The new game plan is I'm just gonna root these in moss and then pot them up into soil once they grow. They're so cute. Ugh, I hate working with moss, but we need to rehydrate this. So you want it moist, not soaking. Nice and fluffy like this. And then I'm just gonna wrap these up in the moss. Next question, which is how did I first get into plants in the first place and what was my first plant? Actually, I don't even remember what my first plant was because I just picked it based off of how it looked. I had no idea how to care for it. I don't remember and it died. What did really kind of kick off my love of houseplant care? It's not even a funny story. It's kind of a sad one, but I had really gnarly postpartum depression and I don't know, I think it's because my personality is I like to be in control and be super prepared for everything. When you have a baby, all of that goes out the window. But houseplants felt like something within my control. They didn't cry or tantrum. Although ironically, when you do get into plant care, you find out they do tantrum and fuss and require a lot more care than you thought. But it was just a really peaceful, calming way for me to engage in something outside of just being 100% focused on what I'm doing wrong with my baby. People always ask me how, because I have a 2-year-old as well, how my kids don't mess with all my plants. And I think it's truly because he's been around it his entire life. It's become a thing that my whole family is involved in and they all support me. All right, it's almost 11 and I'm freaking tired. So calloused or not, I'm just gonna pop this in water. Don't knock over. Okay, this is back to being cute now. I like it again. And it's little babies. Ugh.